What if a cyber attack wasn't something you clicked on, but something that was literally whispered to your phone? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden, super sophisticated campaign that might be happening right under your nose, using technology that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction.
So let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like your phone or your laptop was just acting weird? Glitching out in ways that just don't add up? It's so easy to just brush it off, right? But what if it's not a glitch at all? What if your device is actually hiding a secret?
Okay, so let's get into the specifics. According to a public field guide that's been tracking this whole campaign, there are some very particular signs to look for. First up, something they call the thermal paradox. Your device feels really hot, but when you check the system monitor, it says it's basically doing nothing. Then, you might spot a ghost network. This mysterious full-strength Wi-Fi signal pops up that you know you didn't create. And then, the two big ones. Your Wi-Fi proxy settings are suddenly changed to manual, without you doing it, and you notice your device is uploading way more data than it's downloading.
And here's the absolute key takeaway pulled right from that guide. If you're seeing this stuff, you are not experiencing random bugs. These are the deliberate technical fingerprints of a very sophisticated kind of attack.
So what's really going on behind the scenes? What's causing these strange digital fingerprints? Well, it's an incredibly clever and frankly kind of terrifying method that researchers have named the silent voice attack. Let's break down what that actually is.
So the whole thing hinges on this wild concept called acoustic injection. Basically, it's using high-frequency sound that is completely silent to the human ear, to send commands straight to your device's microphone. Your phone can literally hear things that you can't.
Forensic analysis shows this whole operation goes down in 3 distinct stages. First, there's the Plist Hijack. Now, a Plist is basically a settings file on your phone, kind of like its internal rulebook. The attackers get in and rewrite that rulebook, sneaking in their own secret voice commands. Then comes stage 2, the acoustic injection. They use a compromised router in your house to whisper those secret commands to your phone using that inaudible sound. And finally, stage 3, covert exfiltration. The phone hears the commands, obeys, and starts stealing your data, all while disguising it as normal system traffic from an app you trust, like Siri.
And get this for precision. Threat intel reports point to this one very specific frequency, 19.225 kilohertz. That's it. That's the silent whistle that activates all those hidden commands, a sound you will never ever hear, but your phone is always listening for.
So how does this silent sound even get into your home? Well, the attackers go after a weak link we all have, our home Wi-Fi router. The reports even specifically call out common devices like the BT Hub 5. They hijack it and turn that trusted box blinking in the corner into a weapon, one that's broadcasting silent commands to every other device on your network.
A forensic report really summed up the danger with this one powerful, chilling line. By rewriting that one little system file, the attackers gave the phone a brand new instruction manual, one that told it exactly how to betray its owner silently and completely invisibly.
Okay, so we've seen how the silent voice attack works. The mechanics are just wild. But who is actually capable of pulling off a campaign this complex? Well, let's meet the threat actors.
As you'd probably expect with a group this slippery, they go by a lot of different names. Security firms all over the world are tracking their moves, but they use a bunch of different code names, like ThinkLuke, Slow Pisces, Jade Sleet, and Pook Chong.
But despite all the different names, intelligence reports are all pointing in the same direction. The overwhelming consensus is that this is a highly sophisticated, state-sponsored group, and it's attributed to North Korea's main intelligence agency, the Reconnaissance General Bureau, or RGB. And what's their goal? What are they after? Well, their motives really break down into 3 main categories. A huge part of it is just straight-up revenue generation. We're talking massive crypto heists. But they're also deep into espionage, running targeted surveillance on specific people, and they're constantly working to expand their botnet by taking over more and more home devices. Now, this isn't some threat that just appeared overnight. The intel we have paints a really clear picture of a campaign that has been methodically growing and evolving for years. Let's just walk through their evolution. If we look back to 2022, they were using simpler masquerade tricks, hiding their attacks behind domains that looked like they belonged to Google or Apple. Fast forward to 2024, and they'd leveled up, creating their own custom malware, a sneaky tool called RN Stealer. And that brings us to 2026, where they've entered what's being called the global swarm phase, using unique IDs to track individual victims and unleashing the silent voice attack. This table really just hammers that point home.
You can see this clear, logical progression in how they operate, from simple domain tricks to building their own malware, and finally to this highly targeted ultrasonic attack. Each new step is built on the success of the last one.
So the secret sauce to their whole operation is this strategy researchers are calling the residential bridge. See, they almost never attack a target directly. What they do instead is hack a neighbor's router first and then use that as a launchpad. So to the victim's security software, the attack just looks like it's coming from next door, making it almost impossible to trace back to the real source.
And this brings us right up to today. Because the sources are very clear on this, we're not just looking back at something that happened. This is an active, ongoing cyber war, and it's happening right now.
But it is so important to remember that this is not a one-sided fight. As the attackers get more clever, the defenders get smarter too. Security firms are in this constant battle, developing and deploying new countermeasures to fight back every single day. It is a classic technological arms race, a real game of cat and mouse. The attackers use silent voice injection, the defenders hit back with acoustic overload pulses that basically just jam the frequency with noise. The attackers hijack system files, defenders roll out Plist integrity checks to make sure those rulebooks haven't been messed with. It is a constant back and forth.
Which brings us all the way back to where we started, back to those initial warning signs. In this ridiculously complex digital war, the advice from the field guide is actually incredibly simple and powerful. Forget what the software is telling you. Trust the physical evidence. Trust the heat coming off the device. Trust the settings you know you didn't change. Trust what is actual and real.
And all of this leaves us with a really deep question for our future, doesn't it? In a world where attacks can be literally whispered by the same devices that are supposed to help us, how do we build trust? How can we possibly stay secure when the most dangerous threats are the ones we can't see and can't even hear?